Hey, what's going on, guys? Aaron here. So, Alex Mashinsky sentenced to 12 years in prison. I'm going to go through what Inner City Press said happened in the courtroom and also how much money he is going to pay back to the victims. So, first, a little shout out to some of the videos that were taken of Alex, some pictures, and some people that came out to see the trial and then hang out after. So, very cool. Let's go ahead, check in with Inner City Press. So, the judge says the sentence is capped at 360 months or 30 years. The defense concedes a loss amount of $590 million through sophisticated means. The judge says Mashinsky will forfeit $48 million and 9 specific properties. The court overrules most of his 101 objections to the pre-sentencing report. He admits misstatements in his live AMAs. So, to start out, Mashinsky will forfeit $48 million and 9 properties. Now, that money should come back to the victims, to the unsecured creditors, right? That is probably you if you're watching. The judge says, I will listen to the parties and the victims after I finish this introduction, and the assistant U.S. attorney says 4 different victims will speak. Mashinsky's lawyer says, Alex's son is graduating from college today in the Midwest, but Alex thought it was important to go forward here today for the good of the Celsius community. The 15-year sentence for a 60-year-old combat veteran would be too much. Another lawyer said to join, customers had to first convert their US dollars to crypto. The company, meaning Celsius, was not a sham or a shell. I would disagree. Alex's lawyer says crypto's legal environment is changing. Celsius complied with anti-money laundering. Alex's lawyer said he is not malicious. That he is a financial serial killer is a hoax. He did not steal his customers' assets. The judge then says he has agreed to forfeit $48 million and more, which came from his personal gain. So I am just going through some of the good parts of this recap, what happened in the courtroom. One of Alex's lawyers said that Alex will try to help. His wallets are still posted on Celsius. It was not his baby, it was his life. Alex's lawyer said, we'll close with Alex's personal characteristics. He is not a caricature. Judge Sotomayor said good people can still do bad things. Here, Alex's lawyer says growing up in Russia, then in Israel, Alex saw bad things. He filled his businesses with the needy, like immigrants. He hired a homeless woman off of the Midtown Manhattan streets. Alex's lawyer says Alex spoke to young people about ethics, that's serving others. He's been a soldier and a salesman. He's written a book about gravity, which I did not know. Alex's lawyer says he will be shamed forever on the internet. That is specific deterrence enough. Mashinsky gets to the lectern, sobbing, says, I have prepared remarks. The $590 million were uncollected funds. We tried to protect my most loyal customers. Mashinsky then says, I tried to protect my community, more sobbing, and I failed. The judge says we could take a 5-minute break, but Mashinsky says it wouldn't help. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I know victims want to see me punished. Mashinsky says, I ask for forgiveness. I'm sorry. I would like to tell a short story. We were, not sure this word, the U.S. paid wheat for us. Not sure what that means. Please give me an opportunity, a little more time with my family. Thank you. And I want to continue with this and also where he is going to be in prison in just a moment. But I first want to talk about the sponsor of the video, which is Aura. Now, Aura has been a sponsor of this station for over 2 years, and I've been using them every single day for over 2 years. They are an all-in-one online identity protection system. They do identity protection, they monitor transactions, parental controls, scam call protection, and let me show you my phone right now, which will show you the app. So logging into my phone, it shows me my critical alerts. Apparently a few days ago, my email address for coinledger.io, ironically a crypto company, appeared in a data leak. So they just let me know about that. And going through the activity, it showed that I applied for some credit cards. It helped get my data off the dark web, which is great. It shows my credit. Here it shows 74 requests sent. This is for data removal. So these are requests that are sent to companies that have my personal data, and it does this all in the background. So I highly, highly recommend, if you live in the US, to give Aura a try. They're giving a 14-day completely free trial, which again, I highly recommend if you're in crypto or you value your online privacy to give it a try. So right here, I will include the link below, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. You can try it for free for 14 days. What's included is a ton. $1 million identity theft insurance, the antivirus, the VPN, password manager, a vault, identity theft protection, which again is incredible because it shows you anything that happens with your identity, and also financial fraud protection, which is super important. So you can use my link, which is aura.com/Aaron Bennett, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. So now let's talk about what the assistant U.S. attorney said. So victims wrote in, right? There was a lot of victim letters, and a lot of you guys watching were the ones that wrote in, which is great. So the AUSA, the assistant U.S. attorneys, they said that his wife, this is Chrissy Mashinsky, sold unbankrupt yourself merchandise. Guys, if you don't remember this, it was so atrocious. The fact that after the bankruptcy, after the freeze, after people could not access their Celsius accounts, Chrissy has a t-shirt and a merchandise company, and they sold unbankrupt yourself t-shirts. This happened, like almost 3 years ago, but it was appalling. Trust was betrayed. Today, there was minimization of his actions. He got on the AMAs every week, giving false hope. They also said the CFO told him to stop taking tokens into an insolvent institution, meaning Celsius. Fully unsecured loans make up much of its book. The cell manipulation began, directed by Mashinsky. Now, I just want to pause here and say that Mashinsky is taking essentially all of, or the majority of the blame here. This, I believe personally, just like as a side note, I believe that there were other actors, there were other employees that were also acting immorally and illegally. And I don't really know exactly what's going to happen to all of them. Many of them are going to be clawed back and sued for financial restitution. Roni Cohen-Pavan worked with the government, so he is getting a lot of leniency there. But Alex is taking pretty much all of the blame here, but I don't think it was 100% him. And I'm not trying to support Alex, but I do agree with a lot of what he said regarding that this was a team effort and possibly other employees were undermining Alex's decisions. Now, it's nor here nor there. He has been sentenced, but I just want to put that out there. And I am in no way an apologist of Alex Mashinsky, but I just think that's important because it was not just him all the time making all the decisions. At least I don't think so. So the AUSA said Mashinsky pushed back to get wealth for himself despite the company's losses. He asked the trader, how much powder, how much dry powder essentially do you have left? Then he bought to support the price, later to be made whole. The AUSA continues saying that victims are mad because they would still have made money on Bitcoin if they hadn't gone with Mashinsky. Completely true. The amount of lives ruined is astronomical. I personally know many, many people. You're probably watching as one of these people whose life had been ruined. So a couple creditors shared their victim statements. The first, Cam Cruz, so he expressed the serious damage that has been caused. We have been gored. We are being told lies, or we were being told lies. We're told he is writing a book about gravity. He seems to not get the gravity of what he has done. People's lives have been ruined. Some have died waiting for justice, which is so, so sad. Cam Cruz says he wants to attend a wedding, and what Cam is talking about is right here. So Mashinsky requested a delay to his incarceration to attend his daughter's wedding. So yeah, that's what he's referring to here. Cam continues and says, they say 2 misstatements. It was at least 2 per hour on his AMAs. He promised 5 to 8% yield, said live off the interest, the Mashinsky method. He encouraged investment of one's whole life savings, and the ICO was a fraud. Cam goes on to say they only paused because they ran out of Bitcoin. The focus today should be on the victims and how much we suffered. Some are too overcome to report on their life savings. Sentence him harshly. Fourth victim is Hugh. Since the pause, he says, I've lost my money, my sleep, and my mental health is gone. His son is graduating. What about those who can no longer afford, most likely referring to attending their kids' graduations? So the judge then says, to kind of sum it up, this was serious. Commodities fraud, securities fraud. He personally profited by more than $45 million from the securities fraud. The letters from the victims were extraordinarily moving. So if you wrote a letter, I'm glad you wrote a letter because the judge read them all. People lost their life savings and suffered psychological injuries. The judge goes on to say, but there are mitigating factors. He was a refugee. He has a distinguished military career in the Israeli army, including being wounded. A substantial sentence is still necessary for punishment. Therefore, I sentence you to 144 months or 12 years in prison. Mashinsky then says, I am taking responsibility for the thousands of employees, not one of whom came forward to take responsibility. And again, I do somewhat agree with Mashinsky here, but that does not mean he was not responsible. All right, so the judge says, you shall surrender to prison by September 12th. And Mashinsky's judge says, if you could recommend Otisville, the camp, and the judge says FPC Otisville, yeah, I will recommend. So that's right here, FCI Otisville, and I believe this is where he will be going. This is under the Southern District of New York, a medium security federal correctional institution with an adjacent minimum security satellite camp and a detention center. Now, I could be wrong, but I looked up Otisville, and this is what came up. So guys, that is basically it. Again, this is him walking into the court before he was sentenced. So he's getting 12 years, going to prison by September 12th, and is forfeiting millions of dollars. I'm hoping that they track any money that he hid because he was financially savvy. He was very, very crypto savvy. There are privacy tokens like Monero, like Zcash, like using Tornado Cash and other, mixers to hide crypto. So hopefully whoever is in charge of doing this type of research is aware of that and somehow can find all the crypto that he may have been hiding. Not to say he was hiding crypto, but somebody should really look into that. So that's basically it. This is an end of a chapter that a lot of people really are happy about. Not only are they happy that he's going to prison, but they're happy that this chapter is emotionally over, at least with Mashinsky. Now, those of us who are not in the convenience class, who are creditors, are still dealing with the craziness that are the Ionic shares and what's going on with that, because it's been a long time and there's no liquidity there. That's a future video. If you're not on my Celsius email list, you can join. I'll leave that in the video description. I probably won't make full videos about that, or I'm limiting that just because it's not really relevant to most of this audience, most of you guys watching who are subscribed to my station. But yeah, we're still figuring out how to get liquidity for the Ionic digital shares. But Mashinsky going to prison for 12 years is a huge, for a lot of us, relief that this chapter is over. There's a lot more that could be shared that I may share in later videos, but for now, I just want to end the video here. And again, thank you to the sponsor of the video, which is Aura. And if you want to check out Aura, which I highly recommend you do, if you live in the US, you can use them or check it out for 14 days for free, absolutely free. I've been using it every single day on my phone for over 2 years, almost 2.5 years, actually, if I do the math. And it's been great because anytime there is something that's going on with my identity, it lets me know. Anytime there is something suspicious going on with my credit, it lets me know. It automatically gets my info off of the dark web. So that eliminates the chances of my information being sold to a malicious actor, which if you're in crypto, we need all the help we can get there. So I'll leave the link to that below. And guys, that is it for the video. Leave your comments below about what you think about this, his sentence. Do you think it's adequate? Do you think it should have been more than Sam Bankman-Fried, who got 25 years? What do you think? Leave a comment below, guys. Hope you're doing well. Till next time, talk with you soon, and bye for now.